Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about Warhammer Heroes, which is coming back, and also frankly, the mystery of the missing Genestealer Cults Codex, because I was doing my rounds this morning, looking at what we had, what was up for rumours and discussion, and I suddenly realised, where is that Codex? Where is it? What's happened to it? Who's nicked it? Is it even available? Like, is it coming? Is it lost? Has it been thrown into a warp hole or something? No clue. Absolutely nothing. No idea. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. I feel like Orc players, I feel like maybe Genestealer Cults have somehow ended up being slightly less well treated than you this edition in some ways. Anyway, I mean, unless they get a bunch of new vehicles and a month named after them, they might be taking the crown. Sadly, it's not a good thing. But where is that Codex? No clue. Okay, let's start off with Warhammer Heroes firstly. So this, when it was announced last time, the first time, there was a mixed reaction to it. I actually thought it was quite a good idea. I can't remember. I think it's a good idea now. Having had a look at those who won last year, it was very easy to I think it was easy to take a cynical stance on it and to kind of look at it as a way to, I don't know, like get one over on Games Workshop or prove a point, or there are a few different takes that I saw on it that I wasn't really sure about. Having seen the people who actually won, though, I think this is one of those rare cases where cynicism and like sarcasm and just a general distrust isn't really needed, because it just seems to be an outright positive thing, and it is coming back again. And I think it is once again just an outright positive thing. When you look at the people who were nominated and won last time, I mean, people like the person who runs the Nova Open Charitable Foundation. If you're taking the piss out of something because it was awarded to someone who raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity, that says more about the person taking the piss than the actual award itself. You know what I mean? A lot of these people are people who have started game clubs or have used the hobby to raise money for charity, or who actively attempt to get people into the hobby to deal with issues that they have at home. There are a lot of people on this list, and a good number of them link the hobby to charitable causes. That is not something to take the piss out of, in my opinion. I mean, like, if you can get people interested in 40k or Age of Sigmar or whatever, if you can get people into whatever your hobby is, and somehow at the same time not only increase your player base in your local area, but use that to improve the lives of other people outside of just improving people's lives by getting them into the hobby, then that's a genuinely amazing thing to do. And people who do that completely and thoroughly deserve recognition for doing it. I mean, the fact is that's not the reason they're doing it. They're not doing it because they thought one day Games Workshop will set up Warhammer Heroes and I'll be in with a shot on that shit. No, they're just doing it because they want other people to play and they want to help people who don't. So yeah, I'm really genuinely looking forward to seeing who is nominated this time and who wins this time, and I'm hoping that there are more people out there that get just a little bit of recognition for all of the things that they do for other people, because that is largely what the list is comprised of. There are people who maybe don't do the charitable thing but organise tournaments. There might be people who promote the game to such an extreme degree that they get people into it, and that's all they do. But that's still worth praising, and that's still worth recognising, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's a decent idea, and I think it's implemented well, and I'm looking forward to seeing who actually gets nominated and who wins this time, because there are quite a few people out there who are using the hobby for genuine good, or just pushing it like a madman and getting loads of people involved, which is exactly what you want if you want the hobby to continue growing and continue thriving. So yeah, okay. Let's talk about the Genestealer Cults Codex, because I'm genuinely puzzled at this point. I don't understand where I don't understand where it is, where it's gone, what's happened to it. I've got no clue. So I was looking around at various different forums and websites and DMs and Twitter and stuff and Discord, and quite often people will send me stuff, and someone sent me a link to some Genestealer Cults rumours, and it genuinely prompted me to suddenly think, oh yeah, Genestealer Cults don't have a codex yet. Like, I genuinely totally forgotten that. I had genuinely totally forgotten. I mean, like, we cover the previews as much as possible on the channel. The exception being the Orc ones, actually. I did realise after October was done, I didn't cover any of the Orc previews. But on the other hand, that month was almost entirely dedicated to leaking bits of the Orc Codex. I mean, that's how that went down on this channel. So I think I got lost in leaking the information as opposed to giving you the information from the previews, which is not intentional, but yeah, dealing with the leaks kind of became a bit all-consuming for that month, which was kind of fun, but I doubt that's going to happen again. I don't think anyone's going to chuck me almost an entire codex the way they did before, but it was fun whilst it lasted. The Genestealer Cults Codex, like when I got sent this link, I was like, oh, actually, it's that old set of leaks that I wasn't sure about. I mean, we didn't cover it on the channel because I wasn't 100% convinced by them, and there were some things in there that I just wasn't really happy with. Like, my criteria for covering rumours and leaks is primarily, it's a mix of, does it seem likely, and is it interesting? It's basically what it boils down to. You know, I will cover something that is totally dumb if there is at least an interesting discussion to be had around it, but if it's something totally, it's like a wish list, like around the Dark Angels Codex was terrible. There were so many just blatant wish lists floating around. I didn't cover any of them because things like everyone in a 6-inch bubble gets a 4+ invulnerable save, hits on 1s, and everything is a mortal wound is like, no, that's idiotic. That is obviously not going to exist, and that's not interesting to talk about either. With the Genestealer Cult stuff, it was just like not particularly interesting, and also not particularly, I just didn't think some of it was particularly likely. But it did spur me into thinking, oh wait, these rumours are like nearly a month old at this point. Where's the codex? Where's the announcement? Where are the previews? Where is any of the stuff you would expect to show up around the launch of a codex? Now, none of that stuff's shown up because the codex is not going to be out anytime soon by the look of it, unless they announce it like sometime this week, which I would have thought we'd see more leaks than we've seen now if that were the case. It's a genuinely puzzling thing, because I remember when we talked about the Tooth and Claw box, I'm pretty sure I outright made the comment that it would make sense for the Genestealer Cults Codex to come out with this box, or around this box. There were new models in that box, like a new unit in that box for Genestealer Cults. It would absolutely make sense for them to release Genestealer Cults Codex around the same time. And in fact, there was even like a picture of the Genestealer Cults Codex on the Warhammer community site a while ago, talking about upcoming codexes, because I'm pretty sure they talked about Space Wolves and Genestealer Cults. Where the fuck is it? Like, in all seriousness, where is that codex? What's happened to it? Is it lost in the warp? Is it going to show up like 2 years in the past, but it's, too early? Sometimes the decisions that Games Workshop makes when it comes to their release schedule and the way they put stuff out is completely baffling to me. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. The Vigilus stuff, like, I understand why the Primaris versus Eldar box came out around Vigilus, but because it came out due to Vigilus, as opposed to coming out when the Eldar Codex was dropping, it felt like a bit of a random drop of a random box. It was just like, oh, okay, sure. Eldar versus Primaris, sure. There wasn't a kind of, oh, this is a nice tie-in. It was just, oh, so Eldar are there too. Tooth and Claw, again, it was like, okay, here's Tooth and Claw. Surely, perfect time for Genestealer Cults, especially, again, tied into Vigilus, really build that campaign up. Nope, didn't happen at all. It was a similar thing with October when I went back to look at that. I hadn't really twigged, I hadn't really noticed, if I'm honest, because I hadn't planned on getting the Codex myself, because I'm resisting the urge to kit bash like a massive speed mob for an Orc army. I'm successfully resisting so far. That Codex was pre-order in October, but didn't actually ship until November, which, again, is a really weird way of celebrating October. You can buy the thing, but you won't have access to it until after the month that we've named after your faction. There are just weird choices throughout, and it's the lack of this Genestealer Cults Codex that is really hammering home to me how odd some of the scheduling is, how odd some of the release windows are, how there's got to be some sort of logic to it that they are abiding by, but for the life of me, I cannot work out what it is as an outsider looking in. Like, I don't have a fucking clue why we are very close to the end of the year at this point, and that codex still hasn't come out when it's been mentioned months in the past. Like, I just don't understand how it's taken this long for this specific codex. I don't understand how you release a box with new units and then you just have to wait. Just wait. It'll show up. Just wait. Eventually, you'll get it at some point. It's just a bit baffling. It doesn't make any sense to me, and it's... I wouldn't say it's worrying, it's just a little frustrating. I mean, that's speaking to someone who doesn't even have a Genestealer Cults army. I mean, if you play that army, I can only imagine how annoying it is to just be like, just sitting around waiting for things like Blackstone Fortress to come out and still not have the codex for your army. I mean, if anyone has any idea why things are being released the way they are, whether there's some sort of system that I'm not aware of, whether it is all part of a grand plan that you happen to have an insight into that I just absolutely don't, I don't know what the hell's going on, then let me know in the comments down below, because Genestealer Cults still don't have a codex. Still don't know exactly when the codex is coming out. There's not really been anything announced. I mean, given that I've just made a video about it, I'm sure they'll put an announcement up later today saying that it'll be out by the end of the week or something. That's what usually happens, but for now, just a bit weird, just a bit baffling, just a bit lacking in the old codex state for our four-armed friends. So, let me know what you think of the Warhammer Heroes thing. Do you actually approve of it? Did you approve of it the first time? Do you approve of it the second time? Do you think it's well implemented? Do you think it focuses too much on just people who do physical things as opposed to like media stuff? I know that other I hate using this word, YouTube creators were nominated for it, but as far as I know, no one who was nominated who was on YouTube won anything. Should they be? Should they not be? Does it not matter? Does their contribution pale compared to those who organise full-on tournaments, who drive people to the hobby in a big way, or do you think they should get recognition as well, or do you think it works just the way it is? And where do you think the Genestealer Cults Codex is? Gone? Missing? Stolen? Nowhere? Everywhere? Has it been bogged down in playtesting? Is it being rewritten as we speak? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to click any of the stuff, Patreon, subscribe videos, all of that stuff. Click it if you like. Don't click it if you don't want to. And I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.